It is Tuesday, the 24th day of January 2023. Many thanks indeed for joining us tonight. Let's take a look at our top stories tonight. Former Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha is dead. Magoha dies aged 71. We were offered a bribe to announce Raila as president or force a runoff. Chebukati testifies before the Agri-Muchelule-led tribunal. MPs boycott Day 2 induction retreat citing late CDF disbursement. And parents storm Nyali Primary School in attempts to evict acting school principal. Welcome to the broadcast. This is KUTV Primetime News. We have a lot lined up for you, including an interview on the state of the nation. So stay tuned for that particular interview. My name is Ann Odida. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Evans Odhiambo. Let's get started. We start off with a very sad news where former Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has died aged 71. According to the family, he suffered a cardiac arrest while receiving treatment at the Nairobi Hospital today, January 24th at around 5:30 p.m. The hospital's chief executive officer, James Nyamongo, confirmed the demise, stating that Magoha breathed his last shortly after arriving at the facility. Various political leaders and senior government officials have led the country in eulogizing the late scholar.
The country's attention has this evening been drawn to the death of immediate former Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Education, Professor George Albert Omore Magoha. The family confirms that the consultant surgeon succumbed to cardiac arrest while receiving treatment at Nairobi Hospital.
Then I will speak to you as candidly as I've always done.
High-profile personnel in Kenya have conveyed their condolence messages to the family, friends, and relatives of the deceased. President William Ruto, through his Twitter handle, sent his message of grief to the family and the nation at large, saying, and I quote, "I join Kenyans and people of other parts of the world in mourning the passing on of Professor Magoha. You have lost a gifted, unique, distinguished, and great servant of Kenya." His tweets reads in part. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua described him as an individual with independence of mind and fearlessness. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga described the departed as, and I quote, "a transformational leader, illustrious scholar, dedicated public servant, and distinguished medical doctor who left an indelible mark on our country's education system." The Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, also mourned the scholar as one who had distinguished himself by his immense contribution. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, has also mourned the scholar as one who has distinguished himself by immense contribution to the education sector. Other leaders have also kept their condolence messages streaming in through platforms, including.
All right, the late Professor George Magoha was a decorated individual known for his strict and professional character. The former Education CS will be remembered for his reforms in the Ministry of Education, especially in dealing with examination malpractices and indiscipline in schools. Listen in.
Professor Magoha was born on January 1st, 1952 in Kisumu County. The young Magoha attended Dr. Livingstone Primary School, then proceeded to Starehe Boys Center for his high school education and would later graduate from Strathmore College and the University of Lagos, Nigeria, with a bachelor's degree in medicine. His journey to greatness began as an intern at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, where he would later rise to senior resident and clinic lecturer in surgery before joining the University of Nairobi in 1988, where he became a full professor in 2000. At the University of Nairobi, where he served as the Vice-Chancellor from 2005 to 2015, he was nicknamed a Buffalo for his boldness, strict character, and professionalism. The late professor prided himself on many achievements, including being the first Vice-Chancellor to be appointed competitively and whose leadership oversaw the completion of the construction of 22-story university towers to 80%. It was in his tenure that students' riots that had become a norm at Kenya's first university were quelled down. His strict and no-nonsense character saw him appointed as the NEC chair from 2016 to 2019, where he had a direct responsibility of restoring sanity at the body, which was then accused of failing to take exam irregularities. Professor Magoha would later be sworn in as the Cabinet Secretary for Education in March 2019, where he served until October 2022. The late recently joined Maseno University as a professor in the Department of Medicine. His 91-page CV paints a picture of a man with firm roots in the education sector, with the zeal for handling tasks and responsibilities in a strict and professional manner.
A great scholar indeed. Our condolences to the family and friends. Now, members of the National Assembly have again stormed out of Day 2 Committee Induction Retreat that was set to take place in Mombasa County for 5 days. The MPs continue to claim late disbursement of the national government constituency development funds, saying students need those funds for their school fees as schools reopen. Government sent 7 million shillings into NGCDF accounts, but the legislatures have vowed not to attend the workshop until a full disbursement is allocated. President William Ruto has today met with France President Emmanuel Macron at Elysee Palace in Paris to hold bilateral talks. The two leaders have agreed to cooperate on areas of mutual interest, which include trade, energy, health, infrastructure, among others. The president is on a 3-day trip outside the country, where he is expected to also visit Senegal. Now on to education. The Ministry of Education has announced a revision of primary schools names in the country as the implementation of junior secondary schools under the competency-based curriculum CBC takes shape. Under the new guidelines, the ministry says comprehensive schools, those with both primary and junior secondary, shall adopt the name of the primary school in which they are domiciled, except in special circumstances. The ministry has also said that the primary school and junior secondary schools shall have separate bank accounts. In December last year, President William Ruto directed that the junior secondary schools be domiciled in the existing primary schools. The Watamu Association of Boat Owners and Operators, WABO, has refuted reports by the county government of Kilifi that the ill-fated boat involved in an accident on Saturday, January 21st was overloaded. The boat owners wonder why the county officials have not bothered to visit the area of the accident and verify the information, where 3 people died and 1 is still missing to date.
Boat owners from Watamu, Kilifi County are blaming the county government of Kilifi for not involving the right people in determining the cause of Jabulani boat capsizing, which occurred on Saturday 21st at around 11 a.m., few hours after leaving Blue Bay Beach. The owner of Jabulani holiday boat, Kasim Abdallah, expressed his concern, saying that his boat had not yet reached its maximum carrying capacity when it left the beach, as opposed to reports that the boat was overloaded.
Mimi ndiye mwathiriwa wa ajali ya Watamu. Boti yangu kulingana na Maritime inapakia wageni 35 including captains. Lakini siku hiyo nilikuwa na wageni 28 including captain 30. Na tulipoenda outside the reef, bahari ilikuwa shwari, lakini upepo ukatokea baadaye, boti ikazama. Sasa hakuna habari za kwamba ati wageni walizidi, na kulingana na rekodi ya KWS hatuwezi kuondoka bila ya ticket.
The Watamu Association of Boat Owners and Operators members say that the accident could not have led to the loss of 3 people if there was a rescue boat at the time of the accident, calling on the county government to interview and collect data from the right sources instead of giving misleading reports concerning the boat capsizing.
Yaliyopita yamepita, yametokea, ni kitu cha huzuni kwetu sote, ni mji mzima umesikitika kwa lilotokea, lakini haya yote hayangilikuwa lao ingilikuwa kuna rescue boat hapa. Kitu cha msingi, county government, tuleteni rescue boat hapa itusaidie. Tuna deal na wageni wengi wa locally na internationally.
Kama wanataka kupata evidence maalum au husika ama data kamili, sio kuja na kufuata labda watu ambao hawahusiki. Sisi ndio watu husika hapa katika eneo hili la Watamu Blue Bay ambao tunafanya kazi ya utalii. Ni kwanza kabla kuandika data zao, ningependa au ningeomba kwanza waje kwenye eneo waitishe viongozi, waeleze tukio halisi lililohusika ni vipi na inakuaje, ndio wapate data kamili kuliko kuandika vitu ambazo havimo kama ilivyoandikwa.
3 people died in the Saturday accident and 1 is still missing to date as Wabo calls on the county government to provide rescue boats. Mutunga Joseph, KUTV, Nairobi.
All right, 15 minutes past the top of the hour. We are taking our first short break at this point. We're coming back with an interview on the state of the nation, so stay tuned.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Welcome to Children's Corner. Welcome to Children's Corner. Children's Corner.
My name is James Mbaru. I'm the Managing Director at Genovation. Genovation is a software house, is an innovation hub. However, we have currently and of late we have our latest system, which is Jarida. Jarida is a visitor management system. It's also a guest book management system, so where people can sign in that they have come to see you and what they have come to do with it. It's also a service offering system. So for example, those companies that are offering services like lunch, and you need to know who has actually come in for lunch, what time do they come in for lunch, what do they have, and how much you need to compensate the service provider.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You are watching KUTV Primetime News. Now, today on our exclusive interview, we talk about the state of the nation with political analyst Professor Herman Manyora. What is the state of the nation at this point in time? Take a look. Now, we are here to talk about the state of the nation. How would you rate the state of the nation at the moment in Kenya with all that is going on?
We are in a state that is a little worrying because those in power don't seem either to know they are in power and or really seem to be confident about what they should do. There's a lot of uncertainty in the country.
Yeah. Now, yesterday we saw the Azimio coalition take the whistleblower rally to Kamkunji, which the president greatly criticized before that. Now, do you think this Kamkunji rally will in any way divide the country?
What I think is going to happen or might happen is these rallies will become more and more. The citizens will become more and more engaged. And let us assume the whistleblower account is true. Then the citizen will in these activities be pushing the government to give them their rights, which is a stolen election. I fear it could get ugly.
Yeah, but at the moment, the whistleblower is anonymous. The opposition leader, Raila Odinga, has not really mentioned or said so much about it. Now, do you think he should at least just put it point blank, what he's talking about, or is it safe for him to put it at that at the moment?
I think these issues are risky. Even though you say you put your life on the line for a country, there's just so far you can go. I don't think you are going to walk in Nairobi and say, here I am. It's not easy. We are all human.
Now, the president, after that Kamkunji rally, said he does not want a handshake with the opposition, with the Azimio side. But at the same time, he says he knows that's the motive the opposition side has. But the Azimio leader says he does not recognize this government. So who do you think will blink first? Because now it looks like there's a supremacy battle between the two sides. Who will blink first?
It is situations that decide who blinks first. If Raila doesn't marshal sufficient national grassroots support, he seems to be mobilizing along those lines. If he doesn't mobilize sufficient to scare Ruto, then he will blink first. But if he mobilizes people across the country, it's Ruto who will blink. So the situation will determine who will blink first.
Right, but at the moment, do you really see any chances of them having a handshake? That handshake that they both say they are not going to take part in it?
The Ruto I know and the Raila I know lead me into believing Raila can be open to a handshake. He has that history, and I think he means well for the country. The Ruto I know, I highly doubt. I highly doubt. It can only happen if he's been pushed to the corner.
But you say opposition leader Raila Odinga means well for the country. And yesterday in one of his clarion calls, he said that he called on Kenyans to resist the UDA government. What's your take on that?
You know, calling for people to resist the government doesn't mean you don't love the people or the country. It simply could mean that where things have reached, unless drastic action such as that is taken, then the country will go down the drain. So that's it.
Now, still on that Kamkunji rally, yesterday Martha Karua was saying bado inawezekana. Do you think there's still hope for Azimio right now in 2022? Since the leaders remains a stand that there is still hope. Kalonzo Musyoka, on the other hand, was saying that the country cannot move forward without justice. So, what do they really mean?
I think basically what they mean is, you know, first of all, this country is divided down the middle, you know, and there are people who are hurting because of last election. There are millions of people who believe this election was stolen, and they are hurting. They may not be on the streets, but inside them they are hurting. So I think the situation, from my reading, has reached a stage where people on one side of the divide have come to the conclusion that you cannot win an election in this country 2007, 2013, 17,
Right.
up to now. And therefore, there is drastic action, like pushing those who cannot release power when another person has gotten that power. They are supposed to be pushed to a point where they will have to cede ground. And I think that's what Martha Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga seem to be aiming at. That was pushing so that change this time does not necessarily come through the ballot, but through whether it's negotiated, but after somebody has blinked, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Jubilee breakfast meeting yesterday at State House, right before the Kamukunji rally. What's your take on that? Is it a strategic plan on the side of the president? What's your take on that meeting?
You know, the president has not hidden the fact that he wants to do what Moi used to do, Moi did in 1992, going for defections.
Yeah.
Weakening the opposition and bringing everyone aside. That's part of the strategy. But also it's normal in this country, politicians are hungry people. If they see one side has money, there's food, they'll rush there to take their stomachs there.
Right.
All I can say is that if it is strategy, it's bad strategy. First of all, it portrays the president as hell-bent on 2027, which is not good. Because people are suffering in this country. They are likely to forgive you if they know you are trying, but circumstances are difficult. But if they see you are concentrating 24/7 on politics and they are going to bed hungry, they may not understand, leave alone forgive you. You get it?
Yeah.
Another thing is, you see, supposing the president succeeds getting everybody from Raila, these leaders, he leaves Raila a very dangerous animal, a wounded animal. And that's dangerous for the country.
Yeah.
Because then you leave Raila with no option but to put his case directly to the people. And that's how you must understand Kamukunji, Jacaranda, and many of these things that are going to follow.
Yeah.
That you can have the leaders, okay? But so long as the people are suffering, there's hunger in this country, there is pain. So long as people are suffering with all this pain, you can take all the leaders you want. The people will listen to me and we will show you that you cannot have your way, even with all those leaders. For that reason, the president should prepare for more of Kamukunjis.
All right. Now, the president says he wants a stronger opposition in the country, but if it keeps taking these MPs from Azimio's side, then how will it be possible for the country to have a strong opposition if these are the side everybody's leaving to the Kenya Kwanza government?
You know, that's the problem with this with these politicians of ours. They say this, they mean this. They say this today. This has been a government of double speak, of saying one thing today and saying exactly different tomorrow. You cannot say you want an opposition like you are voting and go all out to lure opposition leaders. It doesn't add up.
All right, now let's take it back a little bit. About yesterday's Kamukunji rally, the opposition leader was saying that the Supreme Court, two of the most critical bodies in the elections, the Supreme Court and IEBC, were mad by cartels during that last year's election period. What's your take on that, especially in the Supreme Court?
Raila may say there are cartels controlling the Supreme Court, the judiciary, IEBC. She's a politician.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that. But what I can say is that from my own independent observation, these elections were anything but free and fair. Number one. Number two, I respect the judgment from the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with it. It had so many gaps. There are so many holes.
Yeah.
I have problem believing learned men can deliver that kind of judgment.
Yeah.
But we respect the judgment. And we cannot talk about cartels. We are not politicians. Let Raila talk about cartels.
Okay. Now, about President Ruto's visit to Kisumu County, I understand that he welcomed the president to the Lake region, but at the same time he says he does not recognize this government. So what do you take of that?
You know, people like someone like Raila is in a very tricky situation. You know, like governors, for example, the law as it is compels them to work with the national government. That's the architecture of the constitution. Secondly, there's this thing Kenyans call development, and which they think wrongly that the president can give. So There are certain things you can do, like if you are Raila and the people say, you want to stand in the way between us and the development.
Yeah.
Even your own people can say that. But more critically is that, until otherwise, Ruto is the president.
Yeah.
You may say you don't recognize it, but who is in State House? So Raila is not naive. He's awake to the fact that Ruto is the president of the Republic of Kenya. Legitimacy notwithstanding. So you are saying from a point of legitimacy, this man is not the president of Kenya. I don't recognize it. I don't recognize his victory.
Yeah.
But you know that legally and constitutionally, Kenya has a president in the person of William Ruto. So, I mean, it's very difficult. Huh?
Yeah. So before we let you go, Professor, what do you think is the way forward for Azimio going forward?
It is not what is way forward for Azimio. It's way forward for this country.
Yeah.
And therefore, it doesn't involve Azimio alone or Raila alone. It is for Raila and Ruto to know this country is bigger than the two of them.
I was coming to that point of the country, but I wanted first of all to know this coalition with these rallies.
I think since Ruto has shown that he's not
interested in
willing to intransigent, if you wish, he's not willing to blink, if you wish, he's not willing to listen, if you wish, he's not open to reason. He doesn't recognize the opposition as a group or team of people he can engage at that level. Then I think Azimio will just push on with their agenda, which is pushing the government through mass action.
Now, let's now come back now to the final question. Now, what next for the country?
I think, it's a very simple thing.
Yeah.
All these players, they must know the country is bigger than them. And when things go south, nobody wins.
Yeah.
If you are the president and mass action become ugly, first of all, investor confidence goes down.
Yeah.
A situation that is bad becomes worse because the little employment there is goes down.
Yeah.
The few investors who are here actually pack and go. So even if you remain president of what country? Is it a functional country? But worse is if this sort of mass action then pushes you into a situation where you are now negotiating from a position of weakness, you don't come out well. And you could also lose power. You won't even be the first person to lose power through mass action.
Yeah.
Why would he wait for that? And for Raila Odinga, he too must know. Whenever people do what we call street impeachment, when citizens of our country spill into the streets for change, more often than not, this is rarely structured. And therefore, even for Raila, he must know, nobody ever gains. There is never a winner in this situation. So if they were able to see what I'm seeing, it will simply mean they can sit down and talk. It doesn't show you are weak. I think the president thinks if he sits down with Raila, he'll be showing he's like Uhuru, like Kibaki, he's weak. No, it doesn't. It shows you are strong. It shows you understand the situation. It shows you are a statesman. It shows you know country is bigger than you as a president.
Yeah.
So both Raila and Ruto, they should find it in their hearts. There should be space in their heart for this country. And they sit down and talk. Because I can tell you, and I've said before, today this country is as safe as the game Raila chooses to play.
All right, that is Professor Herman Manyora weighing in on the state of the nation at this point in time. We are taking a second short break at that point, so stay tuned.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
The folks are going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pipopa si vuguvugu. Pipopa ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vilevile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni Duniani Leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
My name is James Mbaro. I'm the managing director at Genovation. Genovation is a software house, is an innovation hub. However, we have currently and of late we have our latest system, which is Jarida. Jarida is a visitor management system. It's also a guest book management system, so where people can sign in that they have come to see you and what they have come to do with it. It's also a service offering system. So for example, those companies that are offering services like lunch, and you need to know who has actually come in for lunch, what time do they come in for lunch, what do they have, and how much you need to compensate the service provider.
Welcome to Engine, an educational show for all the family. Get ready for some exciting learning and fun teaching.
How does a plane fly over the sea? How do the planets float so weightlessly? Let's go! It's technology. Let's go! Science, you and me. Let's go! We're learning every day. Let's go! Engine leads the way.
Welcome back. Now let's continue with the bulletin. The IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati today appeared before the Agri-Muchelule-led panel probing the 4 suspended IEBC commissioners at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Chebukati stated that they were offered a bribe to alter the 2022 presidential election results in favor of Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga or force a runoff.
Former Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati appeared before the tribunal, which was holding its sittings at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, to offer his submissions in the probing of the 4 suspended IEBC commissioners.
The commissioners were on the floor of the auditorium doing what they were doing, participating in the tallying and verification, and it just took a minute or two for them to come and join us.
So they joined you in the holding place?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Was Commissioner Irene Masit one of them?
Yes.
So she was present?
Yes, she was present.
She was present in this meeting?
Yes, I'm sure.
Now, you then go on to
Testifying before the tribunal led earlier today, Chebukati insinuated that on August 15, 2022, a team of 3 visitors walked into the holding room in Bomas at 3 a.m. where he was taking a nap and demanded an audience with him.
Just to refresh your memory, you actually nominated Irene Masit to be the chair of Leadership and Integrity Committee of the IEBC. Remember that?
Yes, I did.
You also made a member of Electoral Code of Conduct.
Yes.
You also made a member of recruitment panel of the commission.
Recruitment panel of?
The position for the recruitment panel for the CEO. Several vacancies of the commission.
Yes.
Yes. He also made a member of the Dispute Resolution Committee.
Yes.
And then finally, you appointed her to be a member of the Logistics and Welfare at the Bomas. The last. So these are just about 6. Sorry, I forgot. And you also made her the chair of the committee.
Yes.
So
Chebukati says that the visitors included the former Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju, former Busia Senator Amos Wako, and an advocate Kyalo Mbobu.
As a commission, we were, of course, appointed from 2017. The team chair and 6 commissioners. 4 of them resigned, and we were 3 who then we proceeded to work, and we were joined by 4 commissioners on the 2nd of September 2021. And of course, when they came in, we brought them up to speed, and we worked very well. The relationship was good. I ran an open door policy as a chair, and any commissioner with an issue, including Commissioner Masid, always walked to my office if there was an issue, so there were no problems.
Chebukati says he called the other commissioners into the room to listen in, as the matter they were to discuss also involved them. The IBC former chairman further narrated that Tuju ordered the results to be moderated in favor of Raila.
In 59, the first to speak was Senator Amos Wako, who said that as former Attorney General, remember elections were at some point managed in the Attorney General's office, and Attorney General's office was very, very powerful as regards the election. He said we should not operate in a vacuum. We should look at the bigger picture for the country, and as a former election supervisor, then when you reach this kind of situation, you can moderate results and achieve stability of the country. Then we had also Honorable Tuju spoke. He said that it was necessary that we moderate these results in favor of Baba, and that any contrary declaration of results would plunge the country into chaos.
On August 15, 2022, the former IEBC commissioners disputed the presidential elections set to be announced by Chebukati. The 4, led by former IEBC chairperson Juliana Cherera, said that they could not take ownership of the results due to the opaque nature under which the final tally was conducted. Muhsin Mohammed, KUTV.
Now it is back to school season after a 2-month holiday break. Our schools are expected to return to the normal calendar since the outbreak of the corona pandemic 3 years ago. Form 1 students are also expected to join secondary schools between the 6th to the 23rd of next month. Our reporter Edward Nyamu did a spot check in the country's capital to survey the city as parents and teachers throng bookshops and bus stops as schools reopen.
Most schools across the country have officially resumed for the first term after a 2-month break. The education calendar is therefore set to resume to its normal structure after being affected by the outbreak of coronavirus. However, most parents have complained about the increase of price of books and uniform.
Ukilinganisha na mwaka jana ama kabla ya hii inaitwa nini CBC, vitabu zimekuwa gali na zimepanda.
The parents also complain on the new CBC curriculum, most of them saying that the CBC program is costly to parents as children are required to resume school with a lot of equipment to be used in learning.
Last year ilikuwa
more cheap, but this time it's very expensive.
Serikali ione venye inaweza fanya wazazi at least expenses yenye unatumia kwa vitabu iko juu sana. Hujaweka bado mambo na sijui trip, watoto hujaweka sijui wanafaa kununua materials zingine za shule. So it's very expensive.
Sasa CBC vitabu ni nyingi kuliko ule mtawala uliopita. Na tena unapata kwamba zile vitabu ambazo zimetumika mwaka jana kwa wale ambao wanaingia wanahitaji another set of books. Sasa zile zingine zinakuwa obsolete. Sasa kila mwaka tunashinda tunanunua vitabu mpya. Zile vitabu zimetumika mwaka huu kidogo zitakuwa tofauti.
It is now evident that parents will be forced to dig deeper into their pockets to cater for the needs of their kids, even as the government promises to pay part of junior secondary school fees for the new CBC curriculum.
Unapata kama uniform pesa zimeongezeka, bei ya school fees imeongezeka. So hizo ni challenges na salary ni ile.
With the start of a new academic calendar, parents and guardians are expected to chip in and facilitate the CBC program. However, education experts have warned about the increase of price of books and uniforms due to the harsh economic conditions in our country today. Edward Nyamo, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Edward Nyamu, for that report. Now, learning was today morning at Nyali Primary School in Mombasa County disrupted after a section of parents and stakeholders, accompanied by officers from the right group Muhuri, stormed the school, demanding the removal of the new acting principal over allegations that he was employed without following laid-down procedures of the school community.
Drama has been witnessed today at Nyali Primary School in Mombasa after a section of parents and stakeholders accompanied by police officers from human rights group Muhuri stormed the school demanding removal of the new acting principal Tony Ogunga, disrupting the normal learning activities. The deputy principal, who was immediately promoted to acting principal role, has parents claiming that he was employed without following laid-down procedures of the school community, which is owned by the Mombasa Parents Club members.
Due process and procedure of that recruitment was not followed. We as parents were not informed, and the position was not competitively advertised for. So we demand that Mr. Babu be reinstated back as the acting principal, because he already has a letter and that letter has not been revoked.
The parents, led by Huzel Jill, said that the recruitment of Tony Ogunga was unlawful, adding that it went against the club's constitution.
One of the board members, assistant chairman, who bribed me 60,000 shillings. I had to send him to court, and he had to pay for it.
A row has been brewing over the recruitment of new principal after the former principal exited the school last year. The school board of management appointed one of the two deputies, Omar Babu, as the acting principal. However, attempts by the board to recruit a new principal were thwarted after a section of members went to court to block the process, alleging it was not open and competitive as required.
We went to court to stop that process. Somebody being very clever is trying to bypass the court. So
the acting principal, Tony Ogunga, however, refuted claims that he was hired illegally, saying that due process was followed when he was recruited.
I'm here to serve the interests of children. I was not hired under the carpet. I went through the rigorous interview. I qualified, and that is when the board gave me a nod to act as the principal deputy, that is.
The parents now demand the secretary of the club to call for a special general meeting with a single agenda of appointing an election board. They also demand that the other deputy principal, Mr. Omar Babu, to be reinstated. Mary Gachu, KUTV.
All right, we are taking our third short break. We are coming back with more stories, so keep it KUTV.
Welcome to Children's Corner. I am
Welcome to
Children's Corner.
Children's Corner.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Kenya Livestock Marketing Council has urged the government to deploy enough security personnel to counties experiencing cattle rustling and inter-community clashes so that calm can be restored and prevent more loss of lives and property. The council further wants the pastoral communities to find a common ground for peace with their neighbors to end the conflicts that have for a very long time undermined developments in their regions.
Cattle rustling has been a rampant issue in northern Kenya that has led to many lives, property and peace lost within the region and neighboring regions. This has raised an eye in the past few days as more loss is being experienced, with the government being urged to solve the matter in order to restore peace as well as prevent more loss of lives and property.
Na nawauliza ya kwamba musikubali, na mimi kama kiongozi wa taifa sitaruhusu mtu yeyote kudharau kazi ya mwenzake. Sote tunachangia katika kutengeneza Kenya moja, na hakuna mmoja wetu asiyekuwa na umuhimu.
While addressing the press in Garissa Town, Kenya Livestock Marketing Chairperson Dubat May said that despite the fact that the national government has promised to solve the cattle rustling menace, there is need for the communities involved to sit together in harmony and settle their differences, as this will be a permanent solution.
Kuiba imekuwa commercialized. Kuna vigenge, kuna vikundi, kuna watu ambaye wana finance hiyo. Tunataka serikali ijue hiyo.
Dubat has also noted that it is important for the livestock owners to embrace livestock identification so as to easily trace stolen cattle and flush out bandits from their hideouts. Hence, he will collaborate with the Ministry for Interior to come up with good tracking technology to be put in animals.
Hii ukame imesababisha watu wengi kuhama kutoka sehemu yao ya malisho na kwenda sehemu nyingine. Hii ndio inasababisha mzozo. Tunataka serikali iangalie hiyo mpango na iweke mkakati.
On a joint media interview at State House this month, President William Ruto has assured his government's commitment to end bandit attacks in parts of Rift Valley where hundreds of people have been killed in the past years during cattle raids. Joy Minor, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, water scarcity has hit Munyu, Muguga and Gatwenyaga villages in Thika town, with the residents going for several months without the commodity. According to the residents, there has been water scarcity for the past several months in the town without any intervention by the Thika Water and Sewerage Company, Thiasco, calling for relevant stakeholders to take action.
Residents of Munyu, Muguga and Gatwenya villages in Thika town held peaceful demonstrations in protest against water shortage that has hit the town for months. Speaking to the media, the resident claimed that they have not had water in the past several months, but still have to pay their water bills to the Thika Water and Sewerage Company, Thiasco.
We always pay the bills with a title, a big title, Thiasco. But we get water from the borehole.
Njoroge Ndungu, a resident from Gatwenya village, claimed that the town has had water scarcity since 2020 and the situation keeps worsening. The resident further called out the Thika Water and Sewerage Company for not doing enough to feed them the necessary water for their domestic use and piping salty water, which is a health hazard to the community.
Na tuko na shida ya maji kuanzia mwaka wa 2020 na tumesumbuka sana sababu supply ya maji imepungua. Tumekuwa tukipata maji mara 2 kwa wiki, lakini saa hii penye tumefikia saa hii hata tone haipatikani.
While holding peaceful demonstrations at the Thika Water and Sewerage Company office in Muguga, the resident accused some company officials for colluding with cartel to sabotage water distribution, to take advantage and sell water using water tanks bozers.
The other long-term solution ambayo tumeaddress ni ya kwamba after 2 weeks the issue ya line ya yenye na cover around 1 kilometer itakuwa addressed by the Thiasco. They are working on their modalities and within 2 weeks they'll be able to address that, and therefore we have also agreed that by that time tutakuwa na maji ya kutosha.
However, after the protests, the resident agreed with the water company for provision of clean water twice a week alongside other long-term measures to help them deal with the water scarcity crisis that remains a struggle in the county. Ruth Wanjiru, KU TV.
Now, in the world of sports, veteran Kenya's 7-star Collins Injera has announced his retirement from rugby after a sparkling career both at the club and international level. Through a post on social media, Injera said he had to listen to the body after months of deliberating on whether to call it quits. His decision to hang the boots comes just 2 weeks after he became the 12th person to be inducted to Fiji's Rugby Town Walk of Fame. The 36-year-old star is Kenya's all-time World 7 Series top try scorer, and second highest try scorer at the World 7 Series with 271 tries, with numerous other accolades achieved along his career. 18 foreign teams have so far confirmed their participation in next month's Africa Cup for Hockey Clubs Championship at the Sikh Union Grounds in Nairobi, which will run from 13th to 19th February. Teams from Egypt, Zimbabwe, Tanzania and Nigeria are among those that have confirmed their participation in the event. Kenya Hockey Union Secretary General Wycliffe Ongori said that the local organizing committee will have a sit-down to select Kenyan representatives. Egypt's El Shakir are the current record champions of the tournament. And finally, Everton has posted former Leeds boss Marcelo Bielsa as their first choice to become the club's next manager after sacking Frank Lampard on Monday. Everton sacked Lampard after less than a year in charge at Goodison Park. Former England midfielder joined Everton from Chelsea's side, replacing Rafael Benitez in January 2022 when the team was in 16th position in the table and helped them to avoid relegation. Defeat from West Ham United on Saturday was Everton's 9th loss in 12 Premier League games. They are second from bottom of the table and have managed only 3 wins all season. Everton is now looking for a 7th permanent manager since the start of the 2016 season. That's a wrap from us. Many thanks indeed for keeping it KUTV. Let's meet again tomorrow for the primetime news. My name is Ann Odida. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Ivan Sodiambo. Have yourself a good night.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design.